Okay, so our next step is to, of course, um, create the the next part, which is coding the backend. So we will start. Uh, as you can see here first, I just want to show um, there is already one closed item here, which is the previous task that we did. Um, so here now, whenever we merge a whenever we merge a pull request here, usually um, it is if we merge a pull request that is connected to an issue and it is merged to the main branch, it will be closed automatically. So that means that task is done. So let's try to create several tasks moving forward. So the first is set up a basic web server. So um, must run on port 8080 and should return um, success true on, let's say, API on API, this not API but um, on this path. Now let's also add additional tasks. Um, but beforehand, let's create a branch for this one. Yeah, then I'll assign it to myself so that this is something that we must do. Then another issue is because this is a to do app. Um, create a simple way to access database. So because we don't have a database, we will not sort of cover the using database for now. So we we will use um, FS. So this is for the Node.js counterpart for Node.js library for file reading and writing. So FS read file sync for getting database and FS write file sync for writing to database. So once we have done that, um, we'll also assign it to myself and create a branch out of it. Then I think we can also create another issue, which is um, create a to-do. Um, so the path should be /API/to-do. And based on our if we're going to use based on our knowledge that we for creation of items we should use post. So use post method. For this one, the objects, the properties should be um, title, text, and or not text but description, and then is done. So this will denote denote that this is done, and then should have a unique ID using UUID. So what is UUID? Let's just check what is UUID. UUID is a universal unique identifier. So we will be using this. Um, so we can install UUID for this one. Okay, so um, and it should also have created date. This will be the date of creation, and updated date. This will be the date of update. So yeah, that is what we will be doing for create. I'll just copy this. So submit new issue, assign to myself, and submit this new issue. We just create a branch out of it. Yeah, don't worry about it for now. So new issue again, we should be able to get many to-dos. So the path is also API to do, and we should be using the get method. And then um, the parameters, query parameters, should be, for now, um, should be limit. Um, Default is 5 for now, and is ordered by create date. So we will have to sort it by create date. The other thing is we should also be able to um, for now let's leave it at that. We'll do pagination later. Um, yeah, we'll do pagination later. Or let's see. Uh-huh. Uh yeah. So submit new issue. Yep, for now. Again, assign it to myself. Create branch. Um, and then let's add another issue for this one. So get one to do. Then the path should be the ID, to do ID. So we should use the get method, and of course use to do ID from path to get the item. There you go. Assign it to myself. Create branch. New issue. Get update a to do. So again, we should use to do ID. And because for this, we will be using put. Actually, we can use put or patch, but for now, we'll use put for this one. We don't need to get the update the created date because that should be sort of um, non-updatable. Key update one to do given to do ID. So submit new issue. And then lastly is delete a to do. Delete method given to do ID. So this is what I would want to have. In essence, you'll need to like make issues before um, doing the code, because that's a good practice. Another thing that we will be doing is before, especially for these things, before finishing up the issue, um, we should test it out. Oh, okay. I haven't sort of assigned it to myself and created a branch out of it. So there, create a branch, create branch. There you go. So let's go and set up a web server. So from here on out, we want to um, we want to uh, go. This is the branch itself. So you want to what we want to do is um, not clone, but actually, so this is the contribute. Um, what we can do actually is just click on Git pod here, which opens up another session or um, workspace. Might take time, but it goes directly to the branch that is, as you can see here later at the bottom, it's now for setup basic web server and not um, main. So because the task is about um, setting up a basic web server, we will install Fastify for this one. Uh, so we will install npm save Fastify, and also we will install save dev nodemon. Now, remember when we say that it's src index.js, we'll add an additional here, which is module. Sorry, type module. This allows us to use import instead of the require version of getting the libraries. And then again, we'll create src then index. So how do we create this src index? It says here it should have a success true whenever we get an API. So let's have it on src index. So we will create a promise, but instead of like a promise using some new promise, we will make a function called start, already a promise, by adding an async at the an async keyword at the start of the function. Um, this is for the sake of making sure that our um, index is will be able to use this, like the try catch for promises. If you can't remember this one, you can go back to my previous um, um, videos about promises and how it goes to async awaits. So what this does is, this small code is, if something goes wrong here, it will print, it will do the catch part. prints the error, exits the program with an error code. So this is what happens. So let's do this. We will import Fastify from Fastify here. Um, and then we'll create Fastify. Oops, sorry. Const Fastify. We'll have logger. This allows us to have logs. So initialize Fastify. And it says here, if we call API slash API, it will return success true. So let's do that. Um, you can check out the Fastify, not Fastify versus Express, Fastify page on how to do that. Actually, it's already here, so you can actually just copy this. But it says here slash API, so it should return success true. Success true. And then from here, we will add this await Fastify that listen. Port is, we have set up here that it should be 8080. Yep. And we will just log that it's listening on the address that we have set. Now, why did I add nodemon? It's sort of a magic um, setup. So what we do is we do this, then we just say node src index. Uh, but for our purposes, um, if we will change this. So instead of this, if we do an npm start, you can see already this. We can make public, and on the ports we can just open. If we do like slash API, it is now returning true. If we do any changes here, like false, and then refresh this, it will still return true. So the only thing to make sure that whatever we do here reflects. So we have to close the program by pressing Control C and then doing an npm start. So, so now it becomes false. To make sure that whatever changes that we do automatically reflects on the server, we close the server, and instead of using just node, that's the reason why we installed nodemon is to use nodemon instead of node. So if we do another npm start, it will have this um, restart at any time and so on and so forth. So if we do true and then save, automatically my gitpod saves, it will restart because of those changes. So again, if I do false, it restarts and reflects the changes. Now, another thing that I want to add is whenever you try to add something, you need to add some form of tests to make sure that the code is um, sort of uh, works as intended. So we'll add a test for this one. So for now, let's open up a new terminal. So let's say git add all, git commit, git feature, add a new server using Fastify, and that's that. Yep. So we add git push. Okay, that is done. Now we'll add some tests. We'll add a general here to do the tests. We'll need to do the following. We must install these items, npm I save dev as dev dependencies, tap must and c8. Now I'll explain what these things are. Tap is uh, it's like Mocha if you have experienced Mocha before, but it allows us to do mock testing of whatever that we have coded. Must is like Chai, which uses um, uh, expect or um, what's that again? I'll just open up must.js. It's more of like a way to test your code using some sort of an English version of um, English version of the English language. So in essence, if you have an object, object must be true, or 42 must be above 13, and so on and so forth. So yeah. Um, Now C8 allows us to do some reporting on coverage. So which lines of code is not is covered. So now let's add these things here. So we want to have semi-standard, which allows us to um, check our code, but we will also add this option, which allows us to have semi-standard fix whatever that needs to be fixed. So in essence, usually if I do this and I run semi-standard, it will have an error. Oh, okay. So I need to install this one. Hmm, okay, I think I am in a bind. Mhm. Okay, let's just install again. Let's check the ESLint. Um, I'll add this one here. Also on the package JSON, I'll also add globals. So now I have described it after, before, expect. And the end should be Mocha. I will have to add this one. Let me check if semi-standard is working now. Yep, okay, it's working now. I just need to add this part. Also add the globals, and then have the environment variables also add these things. You will be able to see it on the code. You will be able to follow. But yeah, so as you can see, strings must use single quote, missing semicolon on index um, line 16, line 16, um, um, character 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is what these error mean. Line 26, character 9. Um, so if we do this, just look at the the quotation marks here. If we do this, it automatically fixes those errors if it can be fixed. So we can add that powerful command here. So if we do npm run semi-standard, can do that. Can also do this. This is a long one, so you'll need to really copy this instead of like, or well, you can sort of look at the screen and copy it, but it's C8 dash dash lines 80 dash dash functions 80 dash dash branches 80 dash dash statements 80. So what this means is, for your coverage, you'll just have um, 80 80% actually. Yeah, 80%, at least 80% covered of your lines, 80% of the functions, 80% of your branches, and 80% of your statements should be covered. We can uh, can remove this. There's the check coverage, check file per file, and then we use the tab, the thing that we have installed. Uh, this is the testing apparatus. This one checks the lines if it was covered. And these are the folders that will be tested. So let's say for the API that tests the JS. So we'll just do this um, import tap from tap, and then import must register so that we can use must. The thing is, how do we test our app? What we can do is we can create an app.js, refactor the code, and put all of these things behind a function. So we put it here. So let's say async function build, and then we put it here. Of course, you move the Fastify here, then return Fastify. So in essence, we are now importing the build function from app.js, and we get it from the build. So actually, if we still run this, we need to export this one. So export. So we export the function build, which is an async, and then have this. So in essence, we refactored it. We build a function around it so that it will return the Fastify and still listen to it. Actually, if we listen to it again, we can still see that it works. But if we need to be more predictable in terms of like testing, we can put it here. So the reason why I have to refactor is I can also get that build function from here. Just need to have Mocha globals there, and I can create a describe, uh, make slash API work, or not make, but slash API should work, and then async will have the app before async. We do this. Now the reason why I didn't do this, like const app, is because the app here will just live inside this function in before. So we want to make use of the app inside the describe. And the only way to do this is to have the variable changeable. So yeah. And then now it should return success true. So we are expecting a success true value. So const response is equals to await. Now for testing, we can inject this. It's like this one. Fetch JS. It's like this, like fetch API, but instead of like well, we're using yeah, like async await, fetch URL, then you have method and so on and so forth. So instead of that, we can do app inject. The method should be get, and the URL is slash API. No need, no need for other things. Then we should get the result from the response.json. Actually, could make we can make sure that the response dot status, is it status code must be equal to 200. Let me just check with that later. And then the result success must be true. So this checks if success is equals to true. And this checks if status HTTP status code is equal to 200. So let's see if we do a test. Oh, okay. So we'll need to specify the test here. We can do npm run semi-standard first, then npm run tap the second. So npm test. There you go. It um it is correct. One of the things that I wanted to have is I want to have a reporter, so I can have this one. So we check the coverage, we check per file, and then the reporter is text. So if we do an npm test, think it's just the same. So anyway, can just remove this. So if we remove the lines, it will expect some sort of like 95% or 90%, but we just want to have it at 80 for now. So okay, um, given that we can actually go here and we can do this, pick the files that we want to make a story. Um, uh, up chore, update dev dependency to make semi-standard work. So we can commit that. Then we can also click on index.js and app.js, refactor, uh, move Fastify to app.js, and then test, create test for /API. So given that, we'll just need to push, and it should show up on the branch. Compare pull request. Added a working server, and made sure that /API is working and tested. So create a pull request. You can check the commits here. You can also see the files that has changed. And I think um, so we don't need to have like those checks, but can merge pull request, confirm, and delete the branch. So now, can we git checkout main, close all. You can see that all of the files is not there, but if we git pull, there they are, and it should be working as intended. and it should show that um, that part is already that issue is already gone. So we'll stop here for now. See you on the next video.